NASA has big plans, and these big plans consist of sending both a man to the moon and to Mars in the very soon future. And I feel like against all odds that this is very possible. I mean, just look at how far we've come as a country in the past 100 years. I mean, 100 years ago, we invented the Model T. The Model T was the first automobile in mass production, and the Model T will push around speeds around 40 miles an hour. Now we have vehicles, you can just look at stock cars and NASCAR, that are pushing 300 miles an hour. I think that's pretty crazy how far we've come in the past 100 years with advancements in technology and all this other stuff. Now I looked at planes. I mean, the Wright brothers out of North Carolina invented a plane that could hold a couple of people and go some short distances. Pretty convenient. I mean, compared to how we had our automobiles, we can get these distances across the country. Now we have passenger planes that hold hundreds of people going across the globe, and I think that's pretty crazy. NASA plans on having people on the moon by 2024. I think that is very attainable, even though we have issues like we are very over budget right now and under researched and behind schedule. But look at it this way. 50 years ago, NASA sent a man to the moon. Look how much research we have, how we can look back. It took them from 1961 to 1969 to send him to the moon. We are so far in the future with all this research that we can do a lot of great things. Now, I also take into consideration Orion, the rocket that they are building, is a lot more high-tech than the rocket they had back then. This rocket has 4 RS-25 engines that can provide up to 2 million pounds of thrust. It has 17-story tall rocket boosters that create 1.8 million pounds of thrust each. Orion can propel 57,000 pounds of cargo into space, more than any rocket currently in production. It also is going to be dropping a lot of small satellites off into space. Now, and I have a spacecraft that'll hold up to 4 astronauts that they plan on bringing to the moon, which was more than we've done before. Now, we're not in as big of a rush to do this. We're not competing with other countries because we've already sent a man to the moon. But we still do have these deadlines so that we keep ourselves on track. So we want to reach these deadlines, but I feel like there's still competition with this. And I feel like this is very attainable to reach this deadline of 2024 because even with the setbacks in the budgeting and everything, and even with this coronavirus, which has set us very far back, NASA employees aren't able to go to work. But what we don't realize is how much work that they're doing from home on their computers with all of their free time. They're still dedicating themselves for a better cause for America so that we can see another person on the moon in 4 years from now. Now, space travel is out of the picture right now with the coronavirus. But hopefully in the future, we never know what's going to happen. We never know if there's new strands that will come back and hit us. But we always hope for the best. And I can see a great future in landing man on the moon. And a great future landing a man on Mars. NASA projects that they can do this by the 2030s. More than likely the late 2030s. I believe that is very possible, even though there are some difficulties. Probably even more difficulties than there would be landing a man on the moon in the year 2024. Our atmosphere on Earth is only 1% carbon dioxide. Mars, being 96% carbon dioxide, just goes to show how major our differences are. Radiation levels on Mars are also crazy high. I mean, just look at Hiroshima. You can go out there, you can get very sick, you can possibly die. Mars, their radiation levels are so much higher than Hiroshima's ever had. But even with all these difficulties, I mean, look at it. That's 10, 20 years from now. Look how far that we can come as a country with technology, speeding up everything. I mean, this gives everybody a voice. And America has some very valuable people out there that now that they have a voice, can do a lot of great things. Even with all these challenges opposing us, I still do full-heartedly believe that it is possible to reach all of these deadlines. I feel like after all this coronavirus, the economy will bounce back and rocket scientists can spend their time developing everything just as before, and maybe at home with all the research done, that could help out too. I mean, just look at the Spanish flu. This was a way deadlier epidemic than the coronavirus ever was. This took place during World War One. We were able to still pull through with a victory. Just look at that. That's the American spirit, and I think that we can pull that back and do the same thing here with space travel and NASA. Have a good day.